lot of realtors are walking this way, and I'm just going to ask if they know how to house homeless veterans. Do you know how to house homeless veterans?
No.
No.
Okay.
I sadly do not.
I do not, but I would love to learn.
I do not.
I do not, but I would like to know how.
The answer to that is no.
No. Do you know how to house homeless veterans?
I do not.
I do not.
Do you know how to house a homeless veteran?
He's a veteran and he would be
Come
homeless
here.
if I did not house.
Okay. We're here at the Capitol, Illinois State Capitol. This is the lobby day for realtors. And I did make an announcement on the bus about my 3-hour course that I wrote to teach realtors how to work effectively with a homeless veteran. Just because the veteran is homeless doesn't mean they don't have resources to use to get housed or to get anything else they need, because they do. But how do you get to those resources to help that homeless veteran get housed? I've got the class, and it'll be out soon. Hello, 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 and good morning. Let me go ahead and adjust this. And I am going to turn my TikTok live around. Thank you for joining this morning. My name is Yvette Jones Swanson, and I am the National Veterans Homeless Housing Advocate, Realtor, Consultant, and professional services provider in the GovCon space. And in corporate spaces too, because there are corporations that manage people's money, hedge funds and other investors who want to diversify. And how do they do that? Well, some decide to do that in real estate, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. I have a partner who really gets deep into that, and along with my specialty, and that is in programs and residential housing. But once you do set up the hedge fund account and purchase properties, I'm trying to spill over into that, but I really don't want to. I've done it before with several investors, but that's not what we're going to talk about. We really need to get this information and this language to the general public, and that means you. So thank you again for being here. And I'm just going to jump right into some topics that always come up every single day in this homeless veterans community. It just happens simply because we have homeless veterans nationwide. Oh my goodness. I'm working with the homeless veteran now in New York City. She has been homeless in her car with her therapy dog, comfort dog. I'm not sure if he's licensed, but whenever a veteran has a pet, a therapy, any type of animal, cat, dog, rooster, whatever it is, they can't part with that animal because of their PTSD. I've housed several veterans who were in their automobiles and work trucks and other situations where they had their animals. And back then, and still to this day, landlords just say no pets. How do you get around that when you are a veteran and you have a therapy dog or therapy cat or therapy monkey? But let's just keep it dogs, because a lot of them have dogs as their comfort, for their comfort, or as their therapy. They are trained to identify signals that the veteran is having some type of issue, and that's for their safety. So I've had in the past where new landlords would come aboard and tell me, well, that no pets. I'm like, I don't know who you think you're speaking of or talking to, but these animals are coming with these veterans. And that's just it. So how do you get around that? Oh my goodness. Because some of those dogs were not trained as their therapy dog, but they're still their comfort, especially in the cold. I've housed several veterans with big German shepherds, and those German shepherds was their warmth in the wintertime. It kept them. Oh, I remember one. He lived in his work truck. He did something with HVAC or something mechanical like that, because he had a lot of tools in this short truck, and it opened up like this from the sides, and they slept in the middle. So, and also in the front cabin where he drove around to look for work. I'm like, and this is in Chicago, and this is during our polar vortex. Y'all can write that down and look that up, when Chicago experienced the coldest winter in history. And this veteran had a huge German Shepherd, and they slept in that vehicle. So this one particular management company, uh, oh God, Jesus, who initially told me, and my God, and I, you know what, you all are going to see a lot out of me, because I've been doing this, housing homeless veterans for over 22 years, and these stories are like my life. Not only did I help, move all of those veterans, but also moved myself as a former homeless female veteran. So those stories of other veterans who I will share with you, I mean, they live inside of me. They'll never leave. They're combined now with my story, but it's not just a story, stories of sadness, because these veterans were eventually housed, just like myself. And the reason I do what I do every single day in advocating, and I get to house some veterans too as a licensed realtor and earn a commission for doing that. But a lot of my work in advocacy is not paid. It's not paid. Sometimes I can advocate for a veteran in another state, and have different disclosures and a co-op agreement. But sometimes in the thick of things, when it's really advocacy, when I'm writing congressional letters to Congress, to the Senate, to the House, let me see, the state rep, the senator, and the Congress, and also the mayor. So that's the real advocacy work, to alert the powers that be that, hey, you have a homeless veteran honored, 2 Bronze Stars, tours of duty, disabled veteran in your community who needs service, who needs housing. And that's the advocacy work. I write all these letters. And some of these are the advocacy letters in this folder right here. And some of the politicians do respond, and some respond with, oh, what we've done in the veterans community, look at us. And I'm like, okay, well, right now, right here today, we have a homeless veteran in your community, and we're not getting the proper services that's required for this veteran who holds a HUD-VASH voucher. And a lot of my veterans who I'm working with now, state to state, New York, Virginia, Georgia, she doesn't have a voucher, but she could qualify for one. She is homeless with no car, nowhere to go. So that qualifies as homeless. And then the conditions, medical or physical, mental. So who's overseeing this? You know, we say we don't want to see and we should not have homeless veterans. Well, you know, and we don't have to. With everybody knowing what their role is in the community, I'm a realtor. I'm a licensed realtor. My role in the community is to move people. Now, I choose, as a realtor, I choose to work with homeless veterans. That's my choice as a realtor. Okay. And it's also my choice to come and teach you how to do the same thing. I choose to do this. Now, for 22 past years plus that I've been housing homeless veterans as a realtor, I came to the community once after hearing everybody saying, thank you for the hearts on TikTok. After hearing everybody saying, oh, we shouldn't have homeless veterans. Okay, realtors. And then realtors asking me, Yvette, how do you get paid housing homeless veterans? They don't have any money. I'm like, oh, that's what you think. So let me go ahead and do a public service announcement in the form of a licensed class by the IDFPR that licensed a class that I wrote to teach realtors in our community. In our community. This is back in 2015, 2016, 17 is when I taught that class. But you know what I got from my community of realtors? A lot of pushback. A lot of pushback. And I remember teaching one class and the girl just kept talking. I'm just listening. Oh, you know, that's one thing instructors really dislike, a know-it-all. And I told her, I said, you know what? The same way I wrote this class, well, first of all, the same way I got my license to teach, and then the same way I wrote this class, you could do the same thing. You feel you know more than I do and teaching this class, then please go ahead and apply for your license to teach realtors, and also write a class so you can come and stand up here and teach other realtors who don't know and who paid to be here and who wants to know. Do you know that that really did shut her mouth? So don't be a know-it-all. If you think you know more than an instructor, go write another class and teach it. But don't, you know, because look, you will get stepped back. All right. This is a lot of work that, thank you for the hearts over here. I think that's Bonnie. Hey, Bonnie. It's a lot of work putting into bringing knowledge, earned knowledge from years of being here and doing this, years of knowledge. And that's what I bring to this online stage. Because for 22 plus years, I was at the VA. I was in the VA. I was in places that you all couldn't come. You couldn't come in. These are some of my workshops that I held right in the VA and the vet centers for 22 years. Workshop scheduled for one season right here, and workshops at the city colleges for veterans. If you're not a veteran, or you're not supporting veterans in any type of way, or you're not on my team, then you weren't even allowed here. It was so funny one day. This girl, oh my goodness, these veterans, I'll tell y'all, if you never worked in the veterans community, then you need to learn today. And I do have a whole library of books to teach you how to do that. So it's about 10 books in my series right now, with more coming and more live education for, I'm creating master classes. Because it's just too much. I can't even go into everything because it's a lot. But this one realtor, now I'm a realtor and I wrote the book. This is actually the third edition of this book right here. And it's on Amazon. All of my books are on Amazon. So just go to Amazon and get some education and read it. So, and I'm also the publisher. So this book right here is the actual workshop, all the details that you'll need for a workshop, and all the details that a veteran needs who is interested in seeing if they can get a COE, a certificate of eligibility. How do you get that? Where do you get that from? Can I get one? Am I eligible? Because I have had some veterans who were not eligible for a COE because of their discharge. So what do you do about that? If their discharge doesn't qualify them for a COE, now they got to go see somebody to get that discharge overturned, and then go back and apply for a COE and see if they get approved. And if they do get approved, well, now you can get a VA loan. But how do you get a VA loan? You got to have some decent credit scores. What are those credit scores? Well, that's another thing. But all of that's in this book, step by step. So when I go to the VA and I take my team, we're my team of professionals right here, and everybody you need to take that is in here, step-by-step guide. So for 22 years, I've been at the VA. I've been in the warm confines as a hold on, let me show you. All right, here's my badge for as a volunteer. All right. So, and I was finger checked, background checked, my resources, my referrals were checked out, and they gave me a badge. And I was there educating veterans. I had to pull up some information for my master class that I'm creating with my coach. And I found a flyer from 2017, one of the flyers where we were there, and I was one of the instructors to teach investors how to work in the homeless veterans community. You have properties. How do we merge? How do we marry these homeless veterans with these investors? How do we do that? Well, I teach that too. And for you who say we shouldn't have homeless veterans, I teach you too through my library of workbooks that are workshops and it's everything you need to know. But is everything in one book? Of course not. This housing homeless veterans is a myriad of things to do, and for people to do those. Thank you for the hearts over here. So this book is Effective Strategies for Housing Homeless Veterans. This is a collaborative housing solutions for homeless veterans for case managers, social workers, human care professionals, first responders, helping veterans transition from homeless to homeownership, to stable housing, not to homeownership yet, because they got to get out of that homeless state. Social workers have intake. You do intake forms, and what this intake form tells them is what program in their roster of programs that they have in their office, what do they qualify for those programs. It could be for HUD-VASH. It could be at an SSVF organization for one of their grant per diems. It could be, it could be a myriad of things, trust me. And that's why I write my information down and put it in books so that you can learn. So for case manager, social worker, and I taught them, that's the book, and I also taught investors how to work in this community. Because as a realtor, we move people, we move people, we move people. And why not move a homeless veteran to somebody's real estate? Well, then your next question might be, Yvette, I get that we shouldn't have homeless veterans, and I have this real estate over here, but uh, who's going to pay the rent? Who's paying for these homeless veterans to live in my real estate? Who's going to do that? So that's what I teach you as well. And that master class is coming up, because that's a lot more than me just telling you what to do. So there are programs in our communities that pay the rent for veterans, homeless veterans. And I have to preference that word, because in order for a veteran to use these benefits that I will talk about briefly today, they have to be homeless. Now, what's the criteria of a homeless veteran? How do they fall into that criteria? Well, I don't even want to say how they fall into it. I want to say, how do they qualify being a homeless veteran for the resources to pay the rent to this investor? That's the question. I want to pause right now and answer some questions that some of you may have. If it's in alignment with what I'm talking about, if it's in alignment with what I'm talking about, and it is a question that I can guide you to one of my publications, then I'll let you know which publication to get so you can understand that question in its entirety. Some of the realtors at my brokerage don't understand. They think it's breaking fair home. They think it's breaking fair housing laws. I'm so glad you said that, Bonnie, because it is not. I am an instructor, a licensed instructor for the board, right? And I also taught in the class that I wrote, it was a legal issues for housing choice vouchers for Section 8. So this is not breaking any fair housing laws. It's not. I even taught that class too. So until they understand that there are a lot of ways to move veterans, then they'll know that is not breaking any laws. I've moved over 5,000 homeless veterans in investors' properties who said, bring them on, bring some more. I'm buying more properties, so come on, bring all of them. Yeah. So they think it's breaking fair housing laws. So they're the ones who say we shouldn't have homeless veterans, but I'm not the one who's going to be housing them with my license because I'll be breaking the law. No, you won't. When you read my book and take my class, you'll see that you have been missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's one way you can move homeless veterans. And this is with not CHA, this is the voucher, Section 8 voucher for Chicago. But all of them is the request for tenancy approval packet. So you educate yourself on this, and you say, oh, okay, I can move a homeless veteran using this money. There has been 800, I said I was going to read some questions. One moment, please. There has been a little over $900 million dispersed in our communities nationwide. And this is what this $900+ million is for. It's for housing. Housing who? Homeless veterans. I'm going to read that to you so you'll see. Housing and housing counseling, healthcare, financial planning services, child care, legal assistance, and transportation. So that's what this money is for. So now you have a realtor like me and like Bonnie over here who understands how you can house homeless veterans using this money and this money in a landlord's property and get a commission and not breaking any laws doing it. All right, let me read over here some questions from, oh, it's 400 people. Wow, thank y'all for showing up. Todd, hey, Todd again. Incredible insight. How do you keep veterans motivated through such tough? Well, I don't. And, I encourage them to let them know, look, you got to keep going and keep your head up. You know how we do. We keep our head up and keep pushing through. So we found you a unit. Is going to take Section 8, it says here almost 7 weeks from week 1 of finding the unit, putting this application through the system, and it's going to take an additional 7 weeks at least minimum, unless somebody fails an initial inspection, then they got to add on an additional week. So now it's 8 weeks. So look, we have your property, we have your unit, you're going to it. You just have to wait through the process. You've been waiting this long. Just know you're going to have some place to sleep in 7 to 8 weeks, provided nothing else happens. Now, what happens between that, you say? Well, there's an additional $900 million in our communities, right? I've housed a veteran who was still waiting in this process in the unit that was going through this process, using money to prepay that unit before this process is completed. And then it transfers over to this money. So I was able to use this money and this money and get this young lady out of being homeless into an apartment that was fully furnished, because the owner had set it up as an Airbnb originally, right? So now she's in here under what's called a bridge, and that bridge pays the rent while the unit is under process. So I got her off the street with the bridge into the unit that was being processed as a realtor, and earned a commission. So this is the part realtors don't understand. Just because the veteran is homeless doesn't mean they don't have resources to use to pay the rent. So next question is, how can realtors best connect with local veteran housing programs? Read. So realtors would need to get this book, A Realtor's Blueprint, and also need to get this book, Learning How to Work with Social Workers and Case Managers. So all of my programs is education and reading. So I'm glad to point them back to the educational resources to help them get there. What's the first step to help a veteran with bad credit find a home? If they have a voucher, if they have monies over the $900 million, listen, we're not looking at credit. This is a benefit. These benefits right here for veterans, with the industry telling them no, is denying them of the right to use this benefit. So that's a housing bill that I wrote, and I hope it gets passed. That's a roadblock. That's one of the major roadblocks when it comes to housing homeless veterans. Everybody wants to clump them into the civilian society when we've got benefits. And but it's like me going to the VA, and I'm a card carrying medical consumer of VA medical and mental and health and everything under that umbrella. But when I show my medical card to go to, I'm at the VA and I show my medical card at the front door, and they say, oh, you can't use this benefit. You're denying me the right to use my benefits? That's what our community is doing to this veteran population, denying homeless veterans the right to use their housing benefits. So I'm going to enhance another bill. Oh, That's what y'all are doing. When you say, what you doing about the credit? What you doing about the background? You're denying veterans the right to use their benefits. This is the housing bill I wrote. And I'm going to enhance it because the state rep who I sent it to is in a veto session, so I can go ahead and rewrite. She already has this one, but now what I just said, that's going to be a second one. Get y'all caught up on some discriminatory act. Pass this House bill. Looking at me crazy. It's breaking fair housing laws. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? And that's why we have so many homeless veterans and realtors don't know how to house them, because they think they're breaking some fair housing law. The law that you're breaking is the right for veterans to use their housing benefits. Tell that to your coworkers, Bonnie. That's what they're doing, discriminating against the veterans with housing benefits. They're breaking the law. And that's the new bill I'm going to write. Thank you. Thank you for that, Bonnie. I really appreciate that. What inspired you to start helping veterans transition to housing? Thank you for that question, Joe. I was a homeless female veteran when I discharged from the Army. I had no resources, and I had to navigate my way to finding resources that can help me as a female veteran, homeless, of domestic violence by the hands of my then actively serving Marine husband. So what inspires me to do the work I do today? I want to be the person that I never had for others. And as a realtor, and I just happened to become a realtor and happened to find this homeless veterans community and happened to be able to make money doing it as a realtor because I didn't have a job. I got downsized 10 times in 7 years, all through corporate America, all in corporate America. And funny enough, all of those jobs were in housing. I'm like, God, you done did it again. I got enough over here, enough over here, enough over here, enough over here, and master put it all in a big old ball and rolled that thing, and it got real big. And I'm at the VA teaching veterans and social workers, case managers, human care professionals how to house homeless veterans because they didn't know how. So I went there to teach them. And that's in this book right here. So I just wanted to be the person who I never had as a homeless veteran. And that's how I started. I got my license and found this community and never left. I'm like, y'all keep coming. They just keep coming. We have a lot of homeless veterans who need our help. Thank you for that thoughtful question. And here is one. Are there specific loan programs you recommend? The VA loan. Are there specific loan programs you recommend for veterans? The VA loan. And that's in this book too. How can communities better support veterans' housing efforts? By learning. I would suggest the community first get this book, Finding Home. If you are a community who say, I want to provide the housing, well, you can start here and open yourself up a veteran shared housing model. Here's, this is the book for that. So it teaches you how to house homeless veterans, senior veterans, women veterans, and justice involved veterans, disabled veterans, veterans of domestic violence, LGBTQ plus communities. Start yourself oh shoot, that light is over there. A shared living home for veterans. You say, well, Yvette, I have a license and I want to do mine as a licensed care home. Then get the book, Veteran Care Entrepreneurship. 22 years. I'm telling y'all, I know this stuff. And y'all could learn it too. I wrote it in books. Okay, let me read the next one. Anything over here on TikTok? How can I get a veteran's home for veterans? Why is that blocked out? You got to buy one or you rent one, and then you get this book first before you do all of that. Thank you for that thoughtful question. All right, so now back over here to back over here to YouTube. How can communities better support? Okay, yeah, by learning. All of this is learning. Do you think landlords should receive education about veteran vouchers? Yeah, and I'm teaching that too. That's my master class. You know, I'm so glad you said that too, because in 2017, that was the flyer I found that I wonder if I could pull that flyer up here. I don't know. But anyway, I was at the VA and we had a landlord breakout, a landlord breakout. We had a housing fair, and these were big back in the day. I started those housing fairs at Jesse Brown VA. Okay, that was the first housing fair ever done when former President Barack Obama reenacted the homeless housing bill for homeless veterans. So, and we had so many, and we needed so much resource, and investors didn't know how do I participate in helping solve this homeless veterans epidemic, this crisis, and they've got money. Hold on, they've got money to use these vouchers that you just mentioned. So do you think landlords should receive education about veteran vouchers? And this is it. So at the VA, that was in 2017. And then several years later, and it just kept going. And then Section 8 said, oh, we need to train landlords on this. So, but yes, and I do have that training. I've trained that since that flight 20, but it was before 2017 that I started training that. How can I get a book? Go to my bio and click the link tree, and all of my publications are in that link tree. So you'll find a guide to veteran shared housing. You can find veteran care entrepreneurship. You can find finding home. You can find collaborative housing solutions for homeless veterans. You can find a realtor's blueprint. You can find the third edition of Veterans Buying Real Estate Guide for Today's Market, and you can find the second edition. And you can find a whole lot of other books on my website and on my bio here in TikTok. I'm also an international writer, so I put those books on there as well. So thanks for asking. I also have a private group. So every other Friday, so not this Friday, but next Friday, I'll invite those to hold on a second. Invite those to ask three. You have to get a book. Please don't come into, you got to pay first of all to come into that session. When you get your book, read your book. Every book has a notes section in it, or because it's your book, wherever you're reading. Hold on, let me grab a page. Wherever it is you're reading, let's say you're reading here and you write your notes. Okay, so then you write your notes in that book, write the title of the book, and then write the page that question came from, so that I'll know how to best answer that question. And then those questions will be answered in that live that we do every other Friday for my private members. This is only for my private members. And how do you become a private member? By buying some education, reading the education, and then asking your questions. And then I've got other education that's coming up, some master classes too. Because 22 years, y'all, look. And I was working with my coach yesterday, and he said, Yvette, have you, how often have you made a 6-figure income in this? I said, wow, I got to go back and look at my tax returns, but it's been several years because I've won a lot of awards. I've won a lot of awards, including the most transactions. This is the most transactions in rentals in my office. I won that award several times in transactions. And that's in veterans homeless housing. Rentals. Everything you will need to know is in a book. Thanks for that question. And then back over here, oh my goodness, you guys have really been pounding some questions on me today. Do you think okay, great video. Veterans need more advocates like me. Honey, let me see. Todd, like you too. I teach advocacy. That's what these books are. One moment. I think I need to put this on airplane mode. That's what these books are. These are advocacy. You think I'm the only one who can do this? Nope, not anymore. Not anymore. 22 years, God stopped me in my tracks. He said, stop. I'm like, okay. I had a heart attack, COVID-19, pneumonia, and a stroke. And one day, God was like, you got to get this information out. Don't nobody know. So I just sat down and bam, these books is what's in my head to teach you how to advocate. Realtors, to teach you how to advocate and get a commission. Social workers, case managers, human care professionals, first responders, to teach you how to advocate better and do your jobs better. And stop letting veterans walk out of the hospital homeless because you don't know how to take an extra step to do anything else, but to look at that intake form and say, okay, you don't qualify. And I have nothing else for you. That's this book. For just everyday people in our communities who say we shouldn't have homeless veterans. We'll help them learn how to find the resources that they need. We don't know. Don't nobody tell us when we're in the military. When we're in the military, we're working. They're not telling us about any benefits or services that we could qualify for based on our need. This book is for those who say that I have a license, I'm a nurse, I'm a CNA. Then get this book so you can have a licensed care home. That's it. You put this on top of that. You want to do veterans shared living, co-living, this is the book for you. And then this book is coming out later. That's how everybody can advocate. I cannot be the only advocate, and I shouldn't be, because you all are here watching and listening, telling me that, hey, I want to do something. I like what you're saying, all 412 people over here on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and all 4 people over here on TikTok. Y'all are here because you're saying, I want to do something in this veterans community. So what you want to do is go get some education so you can start doing it. Education and then action, not just education. If I just had education, I'm sitting here, oh, I love housing homeless veterans. I can house them here and here. That's just for me. That's just for me. Now it's for you too, so everybody can be an advocate. And stop saying, oh, Yvette, you doing such good work. Ooh, clap, clap, clap. Here's an award. Everybody can do this. Thank you for that. Incredible info. Thanks for doing this live. Thank you, Todd Martin. I saw you yesterday, I believe. What's one success story that truly touched your heart? Every single one who I got housed. But there's one I can guide you in the book. I could do that. Actually, I put 2 case studies in the book. This one veteran right here, and he's in the book right here. And this story is also on the Main Street Realtors page. So you can go read it in detail, get the book and read partial of it here, and then go read the rest. But he had a realtors. He had a voucher. He had a voucher, and he still does. And he lives in a condominium up downtown Chicago on the 42nd floor with the voucher that I housed him as a realtor and got a commission of $3,000. How was that? What they say in your office, Bonnie? Going against fair housing. How am I going against fair housing? And he had a voucher. So this is one of them, but there are many. I've housed over 5,000 homeless veterans and other veterans, because after that, they're like, Yvette, I got my service connection disability and it's 100%. I want to buy a house. Well, that's that book right here. This is another success story. This woman, 75 years old, Army retired, 100% service connected disabled veteran, 3 tours of duty, 2 Bronze Stars. Thank you for the hearts. The VA let her walk out 2 times homeless. And both times, that's why we have 2 pictures. Both times I got her housed. That's the success story. Why? And I'm a realtor. That's the commission. And this homeless veteran got housed. That's the success story that everybody can do. Everybody. Thank you for that question. What advice would you give a realtor just starting in veterans housing? Get all the books. They're going to need all the training, all the help they can get, because somebody is thinking housing homeless veterans as a realtor is, what'd she say, Bonnie? Is going against fair housing laws. Oh my God. That's what it is. That's why realtors don't house homeless veterans. Hold on, let me do this. And that's why they don't know how to house homeless veterans. Ask realtors, face to their faces, and they all said, no, I do not. And they don't. They don't. And a lot of them don't want to take time to learn, because they think they're breaking fair housing laws. The only law you're breaking as a realtor is housing discrimination. That's the law you're breaking for veterans. And another law, y'all got me heated up now, because now I understand. Let me write this down. What's today? 10:30? Yeah. Housing discrimination. That's one. And then she said, Bonnie, you said fair housing. They're breaking fair housing laws. Breaking fair housing laws by housing homeless veterans with vouchers. I get it now. So yeah. Oh my God. So all they need is education. That's all they need is education. And that's in this book right here. You won't be breaking any fair housing laws. What you will be doing as a realtor is housing a homeless veteran using, hold on, let you know you're not breaking fair housing laws, using federal funds. So we were here today. Thank y'all for watching. I had a video that I was going to play like right in the middle. Thank you for joining. You better teach. Thanks, Bonnie. Yeah, that's the law that they're breaking. Come telling you, we're breaking fair housing laws. Oh, that just hit me in the gut punch.
A lot of realtors are walking this way, and I'm just going to ask if they know how to house homeless veterans. Do you know how to house homeless veterans?
No,
No.
Okay.
I sadly do not.
I do not, but I would love to learn.
I do not.
I do not, but I would like to know how.
The answer to that is no.
No. Do you know how to house homeless veterans?
not.
I do not.
Do you know how to house a homeless veteran?
He's a veteran and he would be
Come
homeless
here.
if I did not house.
Okay. We're here at the Capitol, Illinois State Capitol. This is the lobby day for realtors. And I did.
Yeah, so I'm not making any of this up. And that was just a small sample of realtors over the years telling me that they don't know how to house homeless veterans. And Yvette, I don't know how you get paid housing homeless veterans. Oh, 22 years. 22 years. Get the books, get the knowledge, start housing. Get the books, get the knowledge, start housing. Start housing. So I'm just so thankful that you all stopped here today, and I pray earnestly that you all get the books and get the knowledge. Get the books and get the knowledge. Go to my bio and click that LinkedIn. Come over here on YouTube. That link tree on TikTok. My nose ring came out. I got to go get it put back in. And then I shouldn't have, anyway, it's gone. Over here on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, go to the bio and get some books and get some knowledge. Because housing homeless veterans is not only a privilege, it's an honor. Teaching you how to do the same is a privilege, and it's an honor. For 22 plus years, I didn't even know why realtors were well, I guess, everybody has their own stage, their own platform, and their own way of doing things. And I just thought for all those years, housing homeless veterans, first of all, is personal and it's private. One of my homeless veterans told me, she said, Yvette, I never see anybody you're working with. I mean, some of them, yes, because they'll say, yeah, Yvette, I want to take a picture. Or no, Yvette, I don't want to be in a picture. Nobody wants that shame. So look, who am I? I'm not telling them you need to be on a picture so I can show people you got housed. No. We celebrate their victory in our quiets. They know they're housed. I know they're housed. The board knows they're housed. My office knows they're housed. I get a check. I get awards. But yeah, the public, y'all didn't need to know that. And you still don't. If my veterans say, okay, vet, I want to be publicized, okay, then here's a flyer, here's a picture. If they say no, then hey, here's their house. So let me show y'all this. Do I want to show? Okay, yeah, I'm going to show you this because I think we have a little more time. But I need my glasses to see. Wait a minute. Because we just closed on his house. So I'm going to show the video that we did. Overcoming. That's a nice video.
Right, right. Read the books. This
Yep.
is the new encyclopedia. So, Justin, I'm going to ask you another question because we got here on the basis of you being a homeless Air Force veteran with the
Yes.
pre-approval.
Yes.
And that's, and I did create a video, and I'll put the video out on social media, and it's a beautifully done video, and it's asking the question, how can veterans get to a point where they can get pre-approved to buy a house, but they're homeless? How did that happen?
Oh my goodness, that's it. So we did close on his house. We closed on his house a couple weeks ago. No fanfare. Look, and then I asked him. I said, "How's your house?" He said, "We're still moving in. We haven't even moved in yet." So wherever he's good wherever he is right now, and they're getting everything ready to occupy. I got to find out if they're occupying the house already. So things like that. Ooh, some nights I would be up 3, 4 in the morning. I remember the sun coming up, especially for Mr. Wilson. The sun came up on me. The veteran who lived in a U-Haul facility in a wheelchair. And the sun came up on me finding this man a house. Because you heard my realtor colleagues. I asked them the question, do you know how to house homeless veterans? And they all said no. And it's true. So I never went back to the realtor community to see who had available housing, because for what? They don't know how to house a homeless veteran. If I tell them I'm working with the veteran and this is the criteria, they're like, please, my investor, I don't think he's going to say yes to that. So then I had to change my approach. Okay, I'm working with a veteran whose housing is being funded directly from the government. Are they crazy? They got issues? Like, what? Why they paying their rent? I'm like, okay, well, they have a voucher. Oh no, well, he said no to vouchers. This is the response I would get in my realtors community. This is the response. So it's like too many times you go and touch, the stove, and you're just feeling it if it's lukewarm or not. And now all of a sudden it's hot, so you don't want to go back. No, I'm not going back to asking these realtors nothing. I don't care how many rental listings you have on the MLS. I'm not asking you for nothing, because I don't need that pushback. I don't need that naysayer negative talk. I don't need that. What I need to do right now is find housing for this homeless veteran. And you can't do it because your mind is caught up in, oh, we're breaking fair housing laws if we house a homeless veteran. No, dummy. And yeah, I said it. No, dummy. What you're doing is breaking housing laws, benefits that these veterans have been approved for by the federal government, by 2 departments. You can't house a veteran with the voucher? You can't do that? Is that too much to ask? You can't house a veteran who is using benefits from over 411 organizations that received over $900 million from the Department of Veteran Affairs. You can't do that. You can't use this money and go talk to your investor and say, I have a veteran with a voucher that's already been approved by the VA and by HUD, and your house fits their criteria. You can't do that and earn a commission, and you get a homeless veteran house using their benefits. by the federal government? You can't do that. Oh no, you say, oh no, I don't know how. And that's why I'm here. I'm not here to badger you. I'm just here to let you know that you can. And you can get this book and learn how to do it. And then join my private group where I teach you even more. Because the investors need to know how as well. And that's what I educate you on, having these conversations with these investors. My masterclass for investors is coming out because they need to know too. They need to know that they're sitting on gold mines, and these gold mines is through federal funding. And people might say, oh, Yvette, you know who we have in the office, and he's cutting everything. Well, you know what? I say this 22 years, and I've only seen the money go up in homeless veterans housing. And it's gone up again for 2026. So don't come and tell me that whoever we have in the office is cutting this funding. No, he ain't. And none of them did all the years that I've been housing homeless veterans. That's why I was so successful in housing so many homeless veterans, because the funding was never cut. It was never cut. I never had to go to another community. I never had to go and house civilians with 850 credit scores. I never had to do that. And that was not my intention, but it became my passion to house homeless veterans because wasn't nobody else doing it. Not as a realtor. You heard my realtor colleagues in Illinois, not one said yes. And the one who said her husband would be homeless, she's probably right, because if he's not service connected, he's not receiving a disability check at the 100% mark, then yeah. And if he doesn't have another job because he is a realtor and he's not a top producing realtor, making a six-figure income, and that's on a daily grind. He could become sick and lose that income without being service connected. Oh yeah, he'll be homeless if he didn't have her. I've always wanted to break that down. And that's where that little segment comes in, like, yeah, she's absolutely right. Because she knows what he has and what he doesn't have. She knows he doesn't have all the resources to house himself if he didn't have her. And it happens like that. You know, it happened to me. Luckily, God sent me my husband, because after I had a heart attack, COVID-19, pneumonia, and a stroke, and couldn't walk for 6 months, all of my income as a realtor, out boots on the ground, showing houses, showing apartments, going looking at properties before I bring them online, all of that stopped. And that's why I started writing. God set me down. He said, you got to get your information from your intellectual property, from the brain I gave you, from the brain that learned all of this information, put it in books. And that's exactly what I did. So I would be homeless too if I didn't have my husband. My husband is Army retired, and he's got a whole lot of other attributes. I don't got to tell y'all all of that. But as a veteran, I mean, I wouldn't be now because I have resources and benefits. And I'm bringing my business to the public. So now y'all know the business of housing homeless veterans and what I've been enjoying for the past 22 years as an entrepreneur. I haven't had a job in 22 years. I've been housing homeless veterans in this community. Let me put on my glasses over here. Let me put on my glasses. Bonnie, you over here. You not shucking and jiving, girl. Thank you for that. Thank you for all those hearts. Hey, everybody. Hey, Aaron B. Lewis. Aaron, yeah, we had a brief conversation this morning too on I'm in Boston, and I was working with the caseworker with the VA, and I had an apartment, and these people, they drop the ball. Do not ever respond. Yet they have people to have to, I know. So I teach you how to get around those people. I teach you how to get around those people. So for you, landlord, I want you to get this book right here. I want you to get this book, the Social Worker Case Manager book, as a landlord. And I'm going to tell you, when you join my club, I'm going to give you more of how to infiltrate not just these people, but you need to know how these people work right here in order to infiltrate the market you're trying to get into, to get those veterans with the voucher to house. Oh, I just love it. I really do. I love what I do. I can get up every single day. And and people say, how do I join the club? By buying a book, by buying some education. So the any of my go to my link in the bio. So I educate you through books. They're not audio yet. I'm working with the company to do audio, and those audio books, yeah, they're like expensive. So unless I learn how to do it, it ain't gonna get done in fast. So just get the books. Case managers, social workers. Oh, this book isn't out yet. That's my Chicago book. A Realtor's Blueprints. Oh, thank you for joining my club. Finding Home. Just pick up any knowledge you want to get and read about it. This is a real good one for you, Aaron B. Lewis, the Guide to Veteran Shared Living Models. Just because of the business you do in real estate in Detroit, people may want to convert homes for veterans. Remember, I sent you that message about that it would be nice if somebody could pick up enough properties to build a veterans village. I design veteran villages. I've been around for 22 plus years. Oh, that's another award I got back there, 2023. So let me see. I answered everything over here. Wait a minute. Angelique, I'm a landlord and a licensed realtor and an investor, so I'm familiar on how to have the conversation. Oh, good. But the people who are supposed to be working for the veterans are working against them. Those are what I'm telling you is that's not all the people. So people want to go to the VA and think that those are all the people. And you don't even have to go to the VA. I'll show you where to go catch them as soon as they get that voucher and they don't do their job. So yeah, there's a lot of ways of infiltrating this market. There are a lot of organizations that have the same capability as the social workers and case managers at the VA who aren't doing their jobs. So you have to know what organizations have access to these homeless veterans, and it's not just the VA. And then when do they get that voucher? Where do they go? Really? So early. And now those are tricks of the trade that I had to learn. Where do all these people go? These organizations apply to Massachusetts. Yes. Approve. Okay, I can approve that. These organizations apply. Yes. So Massachusetts. Wait a minute. Why is I'm getting funny icons that I have to I apologize on YouTube, y'all. I was looking at TikTok. I gave y'all a lot of attention this morning. So 2 more questions, and it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to exit on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook because I promised y'all 1 hour, and that's what y'all gonna get today. How can technology make veteran housing easier to manage? Learn the technology. So I've learned the technology. I've been housing homeless veterans over 22 years here. What books do you recommend to start with? What are you trying to do, Angelique? And then I'll recommend a book. So housing homeless veterans here in Chicago, I had to learn all of the organizations that had funding. And the funding, let me show y'all, hold on. This is the funding, right? So this is one organization that had that has funding. This is the housing choice voucher. So every city, every state has a housing choice voucher. I'm not going to say every city, every state. They break them down. So find where your nearest housing choice voucher is. Got you. This is the source. And then this $900 million that went across to 411 organizations. That's another source, right? And then you have, oh my God, you have other organizations that aren't even on or a part of those two money sources. They're not HUD, VASH, and they're not at the SSVF organizations, but you have a whole lot others in the community. If you just go to your Google and type in veterans resources for whatever city, whatever state, I teach you how to use AI. I teach you how to use AI to find those resources. I found resources in Hawaii for a young Marine female veteran who was housing. I sent her the resources, and they're in the book. And she found housing. She found housing. And I'm in Chicago. So when I say anybody can do this anywhere, in any city, any state, you can. That's how technology made this easier. Awesome live session. Thank you for sharing your heart and expertise. Oh, thanks for saying that. I appreciate y'all. I gotta go. I am going to end this stream. One moment. Don't hang up. TikTok. Flip the camera. And I'm going to end this.
Across America, too many of our heroes return home only to face another battle, the fight for stable housing. Veterans are overrepresented in the homeless population, often caught in a system that is complex, slow, and full of barriers. At VetMentors, we're changing that narrative. For over 20 years, we've been boots on the ground, not just identifying the problem, but building real solutions. That's why we created the U.S. Military Veterans Educational and Resource Guide book series, a groundbreaking collection designed to educate, equip, and empower. These guidebooks are written not only for veterans, but also for the communities, organizations, and leaders who serve them. From step-by-step housing models to funding strategies, this series gives social workers, case managers, realtors, and first responders the tools they need to act with speed, dignity, and impact. VetMentors believes housing is not charity. It's a mission, a responsibility, and a pathway to restoring honor. Every guidebook in this series is a resource designed to make sure no veteran is left behind, and no community has to say, "We didn't know how to help." This is how we turn challenges into victories. I'm Yvette Jones Swanson, Army veteran, CEO of VetMentors LLC, and I invite you to join us in rewriting the story for America's veterans.